Today on the TMZ Podcast.
All right, welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I am Charles.
Charlie here.
Courtney here.
And Fabian here.
Right, Charles and Charlie. Now we have this thing going, right?
Yes,
A whole bunch of C's.
We need
never
it.
thought
So
of that.
listen, it finally happened. Kourtney Kardashian is actually going to get married.
Yes. To none other than Travis Barker.
That's the plan anyway.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
got engaged over the weekend.
we broke the story.
Yep.
We did.
Which we broke this weekend.
Yep.
And by the way, it wasn't like he did it. It was pretty conspicuous. I mean, the way he had the entire beach.
Oh, it was so obvious.
So that happened in Montecito.
Yep. At the Rosewood Hotel, right on the beach.
And there was all these flowers set up, kind of like in a heart shape.
It was in a heart shape. It was like a floral arrangement, roses every.
He came down,
tons of
got on
eyewitnesses.
bended knee,
Got on
and you
bended- yeah,
guys,
yeah.
come on, we all knew this was coming.
Also, we should note it was being filmed. It was being filmed
for their
from
new
every
Hulu
every
show.
And that's, I
angle.
was gonna say, and that's why he did it as, I don't know. Travis doesn't seem to me to be the type who would want to have this big
No, Courtney doesn't seem
scene
like
like
You
that.
guys,
Neither of
his
them
last
are.
wedding with
But-
Shayna was also televised, though. He
But
is.
they have to
But
do it this
Courtney
way
is a
because-
very private person. But yes, they have to do it
So
this
it was
way.
a business
That's why
thing.
I also think that they got engaged prior to this.
That's
and then
what
this
everyone's
was just
saying.
For the show.
Do you remember when there was
Really?
those photos of
That
them in
is-
Vegas and
Yes,
everyone
and
was
they-
saying like congratulations, and his daughter said like I'm so happy for you, with a
Right.
photo of them.
If
Everyone
that's-
thought that was the private
If that's
engagement.
true, then that's
doesn't
gross, isn't
matter.
it?
Not
No,
at
it's not
all.
gross.
No. But
They have a
Travis
new
had
TV
big
show that they're
weekend.
producing
It's
for
inauthentic.
Hulu.
When Chris
and so,
when Chris Humphries proposed to Kim Kardashian,
That was also a big
they
production too,
had to
right?
redo that. Had him pick up his lines again, so that wasn't even
That's
so
organic.
Can we
lame.
talk about the ring?
they're still engaged either way.
I
So-
know.
Hold on.
All right, fine.
Did you
I'm
guys
just-
see the ring that Travis got Courtney?
So beautiful.
big.
Massive. It
It's
kind of
huge.
reminded me of.
Do you want to go ahead and talk smack?
I
Because
personally
right
think
after,
Beautiful.
hours after the engagement, Kourtney
Mhm.
was already talking smack, saying there's no way Travis picked out that ring.
There's no way he picked it out.
I thought you were
There's
going to say no way
he
he could
paid
afford
for-
that ring. That
Okay,
was,
I also was questioning that because
What?
it's for the show, so I think he got some sort of thing. And
For
honestly,
sure. Who
Possibly,
probably gives him
yeah.
that?
this engagement reeks of Kris Jenner. 7 hours before the engagement, she posted this huge thing of
You think she
red
financed it
roses,
for him or something?
thanking the florist that they always use. So Kris Jenner knew all about this. They had a huge dinner afterwards where all the Kardashians and all of Travis Barker's kids were. It was all planned after they sold the red roses. Kris Jenner had this all planned.
Sure,
He
she's
saw
the brains behind
mics.
everything Kardashian. I mean, that just goes without saying.
Well, you know who wasn't there, right? Scott
Scott.
Disick.
Okay, Scott
let's talk.
Shannon.
Let's talk about Scott.
Yeah,
Disick.
that's going to be awkward now
Oh.
when it comes time to make the guest list because you
Gotta-
have to invite Scott.
Obviously,
Right.
you gotta write him.
But doesn't Scott have to like sort of make good for talking smack about them so publicly?
Yes.
Yes, he does. But also, we should note that Scott Disick is probably tortured over this, right?
Yeah, he on the show.
he's
he
got 3 kids by this
consistently-
woman.
and he
He was with
consistently
her for
tried to
like a
propose
decade,
to her.
and he also, I don't know if he actually did he propose.
He
or-
tried like
Yes,
asking
he
her.
bought
Right,
her
it was
yeah.
covered on the show in 07, I think. There's like a whole thing where
Right,
he was
and
like,
she was just
he
like,
brought
no,
up the
I'm
idea
not
of
into
marriage.
it.
She's like, well, why? If it's a good thing now, why ruin it with marriage? She was never into Scott Disick. I would argue. I mean, not. She was obviously into him and have kids with him, but like not.
What do you mean she wasn't
Fabian,
into
I
Scott
can't.
Disick?
Look,
Obviously, she was into
If
it.
you're like at that age in her like 30s or whatever, you're having kids with somebody, 3 kids in a row,
No,
and
Yeah.
you still won't get married to them.
You don't need to get married.
That's an indictment on Scott
that's-
Disick's
No, and
character.
Courtney
So that's what's
Kardashian always
interesting.
Or his
said
hu- his
that
husband
she,
material or
No, Courtney always
whatever.
said that she would be married to Scott if he was sober, but he was never sober during that time, so that's
He had
why
a lot
it's
of
not.
issues.
But
Another
Travis,
lesson: don't do
Travis
drugs.
took the
Just another
biggest
lesson.
shot at Scott yesterday because the only thing that Travis really posted was a petal of roses on the bed in the hotel room, and it's in a heart
Mhm.
shape. And then he also posted a video of them watching True Romance together.
But why is that
So
a
he
shot at
took-
Scott
Yeah,
Disick?
Because he didn't post like the engagement part. He was like, "I got your girl. She's going to bed with me,
He's
and
been
I'm
there.
marrying
what he
her."
meant.
You
He
guys,
didn't
I
mean
did
I
yes,
got
not
your
he
girl.
care.
did.
Come
yes,
on.
he
Do you
did.
guys think this moved fast, or was it? I mean,
No.
I mean, they
years
just
of
started.
history
They just started dating
publicly
right
earlier
this
year in January. But
I don't
they've
think
known
it's
each other
fast.
for
No, they
Yeah,
years
each
they've
have
been family
3
friends
kids
for a
and
long
they're
time.
older.
Yeah.
It's easier to get engaged quickly when you actually have some history before they started dating.
They're in
But
their
I,
know
I,
40s, right?
I will say I had a pretty quick engagement, and I'm no longer engaged. So,
But you were also 20 years younger than what they are now.
It's
true,
true.
With no
and I
kids.
didn't have
42 or
families already.
something.
And
Yeah.
that's a good point.
They have like
Well,
a different thing.
So
This is a-
congrats.
This is a good thing, regardless of whether it was produced up for.
Besides his shirt that he was
TV,
wearing,
which
yes,
it
it was
was.
a good thing. He was
By the way-
wearing a
Oh, I
jail
love
shirt.
that. He's
Kim-
a punk rocker.
Yeah, so she is too now these days. Kim Kardashian's nickname for them, by the way, Kravis, which sounds terrible. Sounds like a Russian oligarch.
God, you just
Kravis.
hate them.
Hello,
Fabian.
Kravis.
Kravis. It
How
does sound
about
like
Corvus? No, that sounds Russian oligarchy too. That's
Or
it's the
Tortney.
Vis that's going to do it.
yeah. There we go. Anyway,
We'll work on
Keep
it.
I
with
love them.
Travis.
All right. Let's move on now to the return of Jon Stewart.
yes, he's back.
Finally.
A lot of people excited about.
He's got a new show on Apple TV. I think it's called The Problem with Jon Stewart. I've seen an episode.
It's the double entendre. Get it?
right
The problem. Comma with Jon Stewart.
with Jon
or
Stewart. Right.
no comma. It's just the problem with Jon Stewart.
I don't.
So he's
grammar.
back on TV, talking politics, talking issues. The show's way more nuanced and serious than The Daily Show ever was. He came on CNN this weekend and kind of just gave his take on what's the matter with politics, U.S. politics, Trump, etc. His whole thing is that the media is too focused on Trump, and he was saying this, excuse me, directly to CNN, which was
talking to Jake
awesome.
Tapper. Right.
Yes,
It
it was great.
I'm talking to you, Jake Tapper.
I think we make a mistake focusing this all on Donald Trump as though he's, I don't know, Magneto and some incredible supervillain that has changed the very nature and temperature of the United States. Like, he's just been an effective vessel. But again, like, he's not singing new songs. This is something he's maybe singing them a little better than, Goldwater. But I think it's a mistake to focus it all on this one individual and not to focus it more on, the idea that power is its own reward, whether it be in the financial industry or in government. Like, power doesn't seed itself.
So I have a take on this. So Jon Stewart,
Thank God that someone actually had the nerve to say that to CNN.
for sure.
That he, I mean, he was.
You guys really think CNN's going to listen?
CNN has wall-to-wall coverage of Trump all the time. That goes without saying. But I think Jon Stewart's wrong in the sense that Trump is not different than any other power-hungry politician or institution that ever came before him. Trump has changed American politics forever,
Right.
and he is unique. That said, I think Jon Stewart's right in the sense that
Now that he's gone, stop talking about it.
100%.
100 wall to wall.
Because you're
Stop.
stoking the fire.
I'm
The fire's
still-
trying to die, but you guys are just stoking it.
I'm
and like,
sure you guys still see stuff on Facebook. Like, people are still complaining, still talking about him, and I just
Yeah.
don't understand why we can't just
granted,
get over
Trump hasn't
it.
gone away either. He's very much so in the
Right.
spotlight,
But they
doing
don't have
rallies.
to report on him.
You're right. That's true. We don't really report on Trump anymore, and that's for a reason, by the way.
I like how
Well-
he said that it was kind of like a villain aspect because everyone wants a villain. And of course, in politics, it's always like this big thing where people want to watch a story, and part of the
Right.
story is having someone they
Well,
hate.
He
and-
said that. Here's the thing that John was being disingenuous about. I thought, I like his point, but he's forgetting that CNN and a lot of the media are producing stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know he says these are like
And
petty things that they
we're
should
also
let go
running
of.
businesses. I mean,
Right.
you know?
And he knows that. But look, his point is, since inauguration, let's move on from Trump.
Sure.
And some people don't want to. And I think he was very gently sort of saying, come on, guys.
right.
Let's move on.
And
Let's move on."
there's another part of this that we covered in our recap on the site. Had to do with the media and just kind of them driving conflict besides politics, just social issues. And Jon Stewart was saying, like, how many Karen / anti-masker stories have you seen where people are on video getting thrown out of stores? That's sensationalism.
Right.
But he's like, but where are the stories about the stories that really matter to your day-to-day lives, like the effectiveness of masks? Like, when's the last time that's been reassessed? He's like, those stories are out there, but you don't see those being covered on the front page of any outlet.
Because they don't get ratings.
Exactly. So
'Cause
that's
there's not-
another
Right.
There's
another
not
thing, right?
great video to go with that.
Yeah. So I mean, his point
But-
is well taken, but also it's like, dude, you're in the business too. You know this is part of the game.
But
Like,
Jon
it is what
Stewart
it
has
is.
the luxury of he can produce a show that doesn't need all that.
You're
because
right.
He's the entertainment.
right.
Right. And so
So now he
He's-
can
he's
sit
holding
on
us
his
all
high
to-
horse.
he's holding us to the Jon
yeah,
Stewart
he's
standard,
sitting
which
on his
we
high
can't
horse
all
and saying,
do.
"You guys are, bat shame on you." But it's like, bro, you were doing the same thing during your Comedy
No.
Central
No,
days.
Jon Stewart. No, but not
He
to the
was
same
throwing,
degree.
he was throwing like those crazy headlines up at the time, like whatever was going on back in the 2000s. He was right in the
And
thick
the-
of it.
Oh my goodness.
Something must have been going on. There must have
Yeah.
been something. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
I feel like they took a page out of The Bachelor, though, because The Bachelor always has a villain, and that's the one that like gets the highest ratings. And then once The Bachelor gets kicked off, everyone kind of stops
wait,
watching.
you're saying that the
I
news,
so
you're
get that
saying that
analogy.
news
CNN
networks
is-
are
You
programming
guys don't
to be like The
see
Bachelor?
the
Yeah.
resemblance?
No, I don't actually.
I
No.
understand that analogy. And
Courtney,
now I
I
get this
appreciate you.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Really?
All right. All
Let's
right.
not
Yeah.
delve any deeper into that. Hey, so let's. I want to talk about Patrick Mahones, who
Yeah.
is the brother, the very famous, I should say, his brother Jackson is famous on TikTok, but
Which
he
is
keeps
news to me,
going.
by the way. I'm not on TikTok, but okay, he's a famous TikToker.
Yeah, Patrick
Whatever
Mahomes'
that's
brother
worth.
He's a good
Jackson
dancer.
is
Sapient.
very popular on TikTok. Has outside of just for the videos.
He's
he does.
younger than Patrick, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Younger brother.
Younger guy.
Likes to go to his brother's games, and usually when he does, something controversial happens. This time, the Chiefs are playing the Washington football team. Jackson Mahomes is on the sidelines.
Yep.
And he makes a TikTok
Him dancing. or
where he's
whatever.
dancing.
Right.
That's what he does. What's the big deal? Except he was dancing on the tribute or the number of Sean Taylor.
Right.
who is
Which was chained off
right.
and had been imprinted on the
Now,
ground.
wait, they were retiring his number?
Correct.
I think so, yeah.
So Sean Taylor, for those who don't know, was a player for the Washington football team.
in the 2000s, right?
He was murdered, and it is just a very tragic story. He was a great player.
Yep.
Gone, obviously way too soon.
Safe to say he's considered a legend for the team, or
Yes,
some in that he has that
sure.
status.
And
Right, look,
sadly, his
they're
passing, he was
retiring his number.
protecting his family from like a
Right.
burglary.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
it's right.
died as like a hero.
Right.
sure.
So they're retiring his number. So obviously they have tremendous respect and love for Sean
Right.
Taylor. And there's Jackson on the sidelines,
In the
on the
chains.
number,
In the chains.
dancing on the number.
Okay,
Yeah.
Not a good look.
I'm
And
confused
that
about
shook
this.
people.
He caught backlash for this. People were killing him online. He came out and apologized and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean any harm or anything." Here's the key word he said, though. I was, quote, directed to that area to do
I
my
mean,
little
it
dance.
looked like they chained it off for people to be in.
No,
And Fabian, you don't know
no.
who he was directed by. It could have been the person taking the photo. It was like, hey, it looks so much better if you get
No,
behind
come
those
on.
chains.
If
You
someone
don't
is
know who
directing you
directed-
somewhere, somebody on the
Who
team told
directed him? You
somebody
don't
on
know
the
that.
team.
There
You
was a
don't know
bunch-
that was
and
someone on the
to,
team.
To clarify,
Who do
there
you
was a
think you-
bunch of people in there. It wasn't just him.
That's,
so it
that's
looks
why
like
I
this
think
was like
somebody on the
a
Washington
thing.
football
Right.
team screwed up and said, "Everybody come on in" or whatever. People saw this and saw it as disrespectful, and then they were like, "Oh, like this looks bad for us. We let people in we probably shouldn't have." And I think that's what they're trying to do. He's covering for somebody on the Washington football team who thought this was a good idea, saw the backlash online, and everyone was like, "Oh, let's not even discuss how they
It's
relate
Well,
this
then
different,
to
then
the first
Jackson,
place."
why would Jackson cover up for someone on the Washington
Why
football
did
team?
the NFL's famous for cover-ups? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
but Fabian, I think
Jackson
it's
Mahomes
different.
has nothing to do with the NFL. He's
Yes. Oh, come on, dude.
Okay, maybe he
Tangentially,
was-
not. Okay, this is conspiracy.
Yes,
Yeah,
of
I
course,
mean,
always.
I'm
And
not-
maybe he was directed there, but I feel like the guy's jersey was getting retired. There was a tribute thing, so obviously you could
You
probably
think
go
he
take.
snuck on?
No, I'm thinking maybe you could go take photos. I don't think it's appropriate to go do a
It's-
TikTok dance on it. It's
dancing
the
on
optics.
it
Obviously,
is-
it's not appropriate. That's why
It's
he-
dancing on the grave.
Yeah, so I think he
That's
But,
probably
essentially
but
what
it's
it is.
not a
allowed back.
grave. It's literally
But it's a
grass with
tribute.
color.
You
But
think
no,
you
it
think
was
somebody
a
would
tribute with his number
if he
spray
wasn't
painted.
In
supposed
the
to be
grass.
if he
I
wasn't
know, but
supposed to be in there, you don't think somebody would have said, "Hey, dude, don't get in there. It's chained off for a
Yeah,
reason."
and
No,
nobody said that.
That's you. Come on, are you kidding me?
There's a bunch of
There's a
people
ton of
in
Washington
there.
football
Very
staff
fast.
standing around. There's photos of other people standing in that same square, like
But
several
not
people, like
dancing.
seven.
I think this
Dang.
guy, if he felt like he could get canceled for something like this, he probably wouldn't have done it.
Somebody
Well,
allowed it,
You
and now
guys,
they're
he's
not fessing up
apologizing
to it.
for
That's
a
what it is.
reason.
Right. He's apologizing. So-
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
now.
also saying, "I was directed there." You're not
Right.
directed there by your buddy saying
Because
you're directed by somebody with authority.
Fabian, how many
Obvious.
times have you apologized for something and then just thrown in something else?
Well,
to be
I
like,
don't
"Well, it wasn't
apologize for a
solely
whole
on me."
lot.
Well, maybe you should
Yeah.
apologize a little bit more.
Anyway, we can all agree that shame
Dancing on the number of a
Bad
deceased
idea.
football player
bad idea.
on the day when they're retiring his number.
Not a good look.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Hey, we should
Hooters.
tell. Oh, you-
Fabian loves
Fabian's very
this
excited.
story.
Before we get to Hooters, we should remind everybody you can get this podcast on Apple. You can get it on Spotify,
Google,
Google, wherever you get your podcasts.
YouTube. We're on
Make sure
YouTube
you
too, actually, right?
Yep.
Subscribe. Make sure you're following the
Yes.
TMZ podcast. All right.
Hooters.
Go ahead, Fabian. You can't wait to get to
God.
Hooters.
I wanted to get in on this story a few days ago because there was a big controversy over it, but luckily we got in right at the right time because Hooters, I guess you could claim it or say is going woke. They're getting with the times. So
Mhm.
basically, Hooters was trying to impose this new uniform for their servers, their Hooters girls or whatever. It was the bottom.
I think they're just called servers.
No, they're Hooters girls.
Do
Hooters
they
girls.
still call them the Hooters girls?
I think so. It's like a
Hooter-
full
yeah,
calendar
it's like
and
a whole
everything,
thing, yeah.
Charles.
I don't think you call them
So
Hooters.
it was a new
anyway.
uniform. The bottom half, which the shorts are already short shorts, and they're already
Yeah,
short.
they're
as,
like booty
they're
shorts that
booty
they would
shorts
wear,
as it is, but they were trying to make them even bootier by cutting off.
making him a cheeky bottom.
No,
That's
they look like
basically a
they're
thong.
like thongs. They look like
Even
thongs.
bootier?
Which we should clarify is the style for bathing suit bottoms. So
Sure.
before, when
But-
Hooters came
Or
around,
bathing
that
suits.
cheeky bottom was like equivalent to what girls
But
wear
you're
in
not at a
fashion.
On the beach, not in a restaurant though,
Right.
You
or a
guys,
strip
they
club.
have
So-
tights on underneath.
Oh, come on.
So we get to what the controversy is. So they're gonna roll out these new shorts.
Hooters was trying to
look
say,
more like
hey, here's the
bikinis.
new uniforms, shut up and wear them, essentially. The girls were like, no, this is sexist. What the hell? Like, this is too much. They were going on, a lot of these Hooters girls were going on TikTok, showing the compare and the contrast of like, here's the old shorts. There's at least some coverage that goes down to our thighs, at least, or the top of our thighs. The new shorts
Are cut all the way up.
They show our butt cheeks. Like
It's a
our ass is
lot.
just straight
Yeah,
up
it is.
out. And there was an obvious difference. And, they were basically calling for Hooters to like change their policy. After all the
I feel like
Backlash.
you-
all the backlash, they caved. They said, fine, we want to clarify our policy. The girls can
Again-
wear whatever version of the shorts they want to wear. So now,
I
By the
feel
way,
like
these women
it
were
always
very
should have been
smart
like that.
to put it on social media.
Oh,
Because
of
they got
course.
the mob behind them, because everybody's going to look at that and go, that's a big difference.
It
There
is
was
a
a
big difference.
big difference.
for sure.
And I know some people will say, well, if you're already working at Hooters,
Yeah, if you're
and
already wearing
wearing
Hooters,
the
you're already
shorts.
subjecting yourself to to the whole sexual
part of
look.
the
It's a
brand
whole
is
different
being sexy.
level, though.
It is. I agree. I mean, like, in the old days when Hooter girls used to wear short shorts, like there was some decency there. There was some decency.
I don't know. There's
I'm just
decency
kidding, I'm
there.
kidding.
Did you
There's
go to
never-
Hooters this weekend and do like some investigation
No, I
on
didn't.
yourself?
I didn't do any investigation, but I have been to Hooters before, and
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
Honestly, their wings are great,
the
and their
wings are good.
sauces are fire.
For sure.
Drinks are great.
Right.
I always
Everyone
love
goes for the
love
wings.
Hooters.
They go for the
But do you
for the
think?
wings.
I mean, because what people will
And they
s-
read the articles.
Okay.
what people will say is that like kind of what we said, like if you work at Hooters already, you're kind of you're signing up to sell your body a little bit. Kind
Yeah,
of like
but it's
that's
kind
part
of a
the
dicey
job.
time because during like when Hooters had its heyday, that was like during the Playboy Mansion
So why not
time
cancel
when
Hooters
it was like
entirely?
cool
The whole
to be
concept
like
of
that.
Hooters is completely sexist. Like it's isn't that,
Because the booty shorts are like nothing in our culture. We have people twerking, like
That's true.
going naked,
That's
free the
true.
nipple movement.
Yeah.
Like
Here's the
skin isn't a
conspiracy.
thing anymore.
But here's a conspiracy. They knew. There's no way Hooters thought that they were going to assign these new uniforms.
and not catch any
and that-
heat.
Of course, at this time, in the middle of
And then, yeah.
Maybe they thought
woke
like we're all-
culture,
like,
they
we're all-
thought that they were going to be able to do this, and
well,
nobody.
they probably thought
they knew
look, we're
exactly
already
what was
pushing
gonna
the
happen.
envelope as it is with our girls, and we have been for years. This is our brand. It's sexy. That's the whole. I
They
mean,
knew that this would
Well,
get
they-
people.
yes.
We're sitting here talking about. When was the last time we talked about Hooters? When was the last time you were in a Hooters?
No idea.
It's been a while.
a couple years
The one I
Exactly.
liked
So you
closed
roll
down.
this out.
So
You roll this out.
Yeah.
Everybody starts talking about Hooters, and you're not actually going to make them wear those uniforms.
Wait.
anyway.
Are you saying that they did this on purpose then?
Yes.
Wow.
Because there's no way that anyone at Hooters thought that those new cut up to,
Or that you
true.
couldn't
That
get the
a
girls an
bikini bottom
options
was
of
gonna-
what version they wanted to wear and just be like, these are your new ones.
But,
You have to
but
wear
the thing
these
is, though,
ones
I don't think this works. If that's in fact the case, that they did this on purpose to attract publicity and attention and more
Right.
customers, ultimately, I think it'll backfire because people will be like, well, I don't want to go into Hooters now if I can't see them in the short shorts, the new ones. They're gonna go in there seeing the
those
same.
aren't
old-
even shorts. It's like a thong.
Yeah, they're thongs. Like if I can't see the girls in thongs, then I want to go in there at all. Like I mean, because they're
That's
gonna go
not
in there and
true.
see the same
girls
old
in
thing.
thongs feels like Hooters is not the place to go. There are other establishments.
Yeah, I mean, they're
And
Yeah.
what would those establishments be?
I don't know any names
Good
off the top of
old-fashioned
my
strip
head.
clubs.
Charles,
I
like I
mean-
was there last night.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, I guess. But interesting times. But
Yeah, interesting timing for Hooters to do something like it again. I see right through all this. I see it. I've been around too long. I know. All right.
Should we talk
um,
He's
about
been around too long and too many Hooters.
I
Who
know.
knows?
should we talk about Vanessa Bryant real quick?
I am floored
This is crazy.
I don't
that
know why this
they
makes
are
me so
making.
angry.
So Vanessa Bryant has a lawsuit against the county, against LA County.
Yep.
Because she had heard that there were deputies who had photos from the crash scene
Of the bodies, of the remains.
bodies.
Right.
Right.
Presumably Kobe's body
And they
as
were
well,
passing
right?
them around,
Yeah, they
and
were
people were
passing them
talking
around. We broke
about
the
them at
story.
bars.
Yeah,
Right,
they were sharing
exactly.
them amongst each other, as
Yep.
well as like I think either a bartender and or bar
Yes.
patrons, one or the
Was
other. maybe
bragging
both.
about the photo to a
Right.
lady was trying to impress, and then the bartender reported
So-
that guy.
Right.
She is suing the county over the fact that the deputies had these photos. that
Invasion of
they-
privacy, emotional
Right.
distress, lots of things.
And she
So-
wanted the names public of all the people that were
Yeah. Right.
distributing these
So,
photographs.
as part of that lawsuit, she has to sit for a deposition, and they want her, the county, the attorneys for the county,
Right.
they want Vanessa Bryant to sit with a psychiatrist and evaluate
Do an examination.
how much trauma she's really experiencing
as a result of
as
the
a
photo
result.
sharing or whatever.
Yes.
This is
Because- so
horrible
here's
that
the
they're
thing.
making her
They're,
do
they're
this.
questioning her intention.
Well, so here's
and
their,
I
here's
don't
their
understand
rationale.
how they can even question
Well,
it.
so here's the thing.
though.
I understand. Look, they got to defend themselves. Okay, one way or another, they got to defend themselves. This is one means to do that. They're saying, look, how do we know that your quote unquote emotional distress that you're claiming is not just tied strictly to the crash and the fact that you lost your husband and your daughter? Obviously, that's going to emotionally distress you.
and also
but-
looking to get revenge
Right,
on
because-
somebody
but
because of what
here's the thing,
happened to her.
their point is,
husband
we
and
did
kid.
not this alleged photo sharing, because it is alleged at this point. This alleged photo sharing was only done internally among the LA sheriff's deputies and firefighters and LA County employees and a bar
even think-
patron.
I don't
It
even
wasn't
think that's their
publicly-
point. I don't even
They said that in their filing. They
But I
said
think
it
their
wasn't
point
publicly
is-
disseminated. I
Right.
can't even talk right now.
I think their point is because if she's going to get punitive damages, and that's going to be, they're basically trying to reduce the amount of
Damages.
money they're going to have,
For sure.
damages they're going to have to pay. So they want a psychiatrist, and I don't really understand how a psychiatrist would do this. But how is the psychiatrist going to evaluate and say, okay, no, that isn't really related to the photos?
I know it's if you think about it.
It's a
I mean, I'm
weird
I'm
thing.
not a professional, but it's like it's silly. Like you sit down, and like, okay, so how stressed are you over this? Okay, like 1 out of 10.
I
Is it
don't-
like a 1 out of 10?
I don't really
thing?
understand
Like,
how it's going to work, but the fact that them asking her to do it it doesn't
it's
look good.
outrageous.
It is. It plays outrageous to the public.
What people say that the county should do is just settle. Like this woman has gone through enough. You're trying
Right.
to put her through even more torment
Right.
to trying to relive this whole thing and to gauge where exactly is your pain? Where's the pain? Like it's like this is not like a how hard did you hit yourself? Like
Right.
this is like
Right.
it's ridiculous. It is.
Right. And it's a bad, as PR wise, I get that they're doing it. Like you said, they got to defend themselves
Sure.
and they got to try and reduce the amount of money. But man, a woman who's been through what she's been through and now to
But
ask that of her.
is there something to be said? I think the public thing is interesting because they're saying these photos were not released publicly. If they were released publicly, obviously it'd be everywhere.
Right.
But like they're saying,
No,
if you- if-
but
No,
part of it
not
is
if they need to
she's
show
concerned
them.
that they're out there and that at some point they will show up on the internet. And she's
if
worried
they haven't
about
shown up
But
now,
and
I
she's
don't-
worried
I don't
about
think
her
they-
kids.
Isn't
ever
this
seeing
in a
it.
response, though, to her saying, even though these photos were distributed privately, I
Right.
want these guys' names out there publicly.
right.
So she was kind of inviting hate on these officers and like,
That's a good point.
And,
So
like,
the
they were
getting
photos- the
death
photos weren't shared
threats.
publicly, but she wanted their names public.
exactly. And,
Right.
and a lot of people at the time were going after Vanessa saying, okay, this is too much. This is revenge.
it's an-
Not
that's
if
such
they
an-
share those photos with the public.
but no one, did anyone really need to know their names?
know, this
if
is-
yeah,
they've
it-
well,
been.
they
this is
should
such-
honestly be fired.
This is such
They
an
should be
interesting
let go.
point because
should
I
be
mean, look,
fired.
we're not trying to go after Vanessa Bryant. That's slimy. But a lot of people, either privately or whatever, they say she's doing the most. She's doing the most.
Not
by
even
be-
privately.
by
She's
being-
not
She
doing
got a
the
lot of
most.
heat
You're right, just
publicly
Fabian,
trying
for it.
she's not doing the most.
Okay,
This
I'm
woman
not-
has
I'm
been
not
through
saying she's
so
doing- I'm
much.
just saying that's
I
the
know,
point of
but
view that's
she
out
has
there. She's
every
doing
right
the
to
most
do
and
what
being
she's
very
doing.
legit.
And God forbid if someone did show those photos of her husband and all those other passengers and her child, then they should be released and they should be fired and they should be held
Right.
accountable.
Should be fired,
I'm
but I
just-
think
Right.
there's question as to if their name should be out there publicly to put
should
them up
be,
But
because
to
she's
like
not- but
death
to be
threats
clear,
and
she's
stuff.
she's not suing to get their names out there publicly. Yes, she did say that on social media that she wanted their names out there. That's not why she's suing. I mean, she's suing over
Right.
the mental anguish
Also, the invasion of privacy
and
too.
the evasion of privacy. Exactly.
But I mean, she is, frankly, she's moving mountains to.
She's trying to get some justice.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's fighting
yes.
for all of those people, Fabian. Good for Vanessa.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I really do want to find out more about the psych, the actual evaluation.
Yes, of
Right,
how
what's
they
it- what
it
do
comes
it.
out
Yeah,
as.
and how do they
Because
By
it's
the way, the
really
judge has
bizarre.
not ruled on this yet. If a judge actually says, "Yeah, go ahead and sit down for a psych evaluation,"
So the
that'll
judge
be
may
That'll be
say, the judge may
strange.
say, no, we're not going to do
of course,
this.
right? But we will monitor. So,
All right.
So what'd you do
So-
last night, Charles?
I was up very late, actually, this morning because the Rolling Stones were in town.
Wow.
At SoFi,
Whoa.
right?
Went to see them at SoFi.
Wow.
How was that stadium?
The stadium is amazing.
Is it really?
amazing. But the concert was, it is halfway through, and I'm going, how do they still sound? And I don't get it. They sound amazing.
Because they still
They're
sing live,
78
right?
years old. They're singing live. At least I think they're singing live, but they sound amazing. Like
Did they cover the song that is about
Brown
slavery?
Su-
Did
Brown
they cover
Sugar?
brown? Did they do Brown Sugar?
they do not do
They
brown
skipped
sugar.
it.
Wow.
They're not going to do it. They said they're not going to do it anymore.
Right.
How
Is
does
this
Jagger
you,
still dance?
What's that?
How does Jagger still dance? Is he still got it, or is it like?
Or is he just
It's a
hobbling around
little
up
less.
Is it?
He still has the energy, but it's not
Right.
as.
How are your dance moves? Getting after it?
Oh, you've seen Charles
Woo!
dance. He's got the
pretty
hip
good.
moves.
It's pretty
The
good.
hip
Is
moves.
this you taking sides on the Rolling Stones Beatles feud?
Yeah, Harvey's not here, so I'm going to make it very clear.
Ooh.
The Rolling Stones were the better
And,
band.
and you actually know the Rolling Stones. I didn't
Oh.
even know the Rolling Stones, and I was still defending them. But
No, it's not an argument. The Beatles were the better. The Beatles were a better studio
Well, because
band.
the Rolling Stones started as a
But the
cover
Rolling
band.
Stones,
They
Did they?
did start
That's
as a
Way better
cover
live.
band.
Oh no.
they started as a cover
They
band?
started as a cover band, and then Mick
Blew
Jagger
up?
wanted to write more of their own songs, and then that's when they started
they
to
wanted
write
to
their
write
own
their own songs
originals. But at
because that's
first,
how
they
they
were a
make money.
cover band. Yeah, I know
all
my
bands
history.
start out. All bands start out
Damn.
covering other
And
people's.
it doesn't matter what their history is, as long as they become like the biggest thing ever, right?
Right.
Everyone comes from somewhere.
All I know
I'll
is
just say this. I'd rather go see the Stones than like Paul McCartney out there with him by himself playing a
Hey,
banjo or
Jude.
whatever.
But if
No.
Like,
You're so weird.
Paul
I've
McCartney
seen
by
Paul
himself
McCartney
is
live also.
is that a
by
boring show?
himself, and it was a really good show.
All right.
It's a really good show. It's not
Alright.
just him standing there by himself. He has a band.
I've only seen the show in
Alright.
Vegas, the Love Show.
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
not the real
was
Beatles, though. That's not
awesome.
even real.
What
We
time
don't
did you go
need
to
the
bed,
real
Charles?
Beatles. He was here late.
Got in late.
You were here
got
real
here
late. I went to go say hi to
Yeah,
you this
but real
morning,
late
and I
to
was like,
us, you
"Where's
guys, is like
Charles?"
6:30.
Yeah.
So
I almost took your
Anyway.
Anyway,
drink
Charles
that
It
was
was a
sitting
good
on your
show.
drink.
I will say that the great thing for them, why they keep playing at this age, they keep charging more and more for the tickets.
And you keep
So-
paying.
And people still
and
keep
I keep
paying.
paying. People keep paying. It was a full stadium, by the way. The entire up to the
wow.
roof,
All right.
packed. So
And this was their second night? They've been here?
second night they played Thursday, and then they played
Jeez.
last night.
Oh,
All right.
wow, they're getting
Charles has
old. They need
spoken.
like 2
the
days
Stones
in
are better
between
than the
shows.
Beatles.
I guess
there
so,
it is.
I guess so.
Exactly. Make sure Harvey knows that. Stone's better than Beatles.
And
All
Britney
right.
Spears better than them all. All right, on that note, follow us.
That is going to do it for the TMZ podcast. Make sure you are following us wherever you get your podcasts. Where are all those places?
Apple,
Spotify.
Apple,
Spotify.
Apple.
Spotify,
Google.
Google, YouTube.
We're all over,
We're everywhere.
guys.
We're on our website. It's on the TMZ website as well. So
Don't
you
miss a
can-
beat.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you guys next time.
Catch you next time.